everybody, Madam Clerk?
We're done with that, or to, manager's report.
Okay, so we'll open up with the manager's report, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
It's the town meeting, well, it's,
Or the agenda, I'm sorry.
whatever.
Okay. First up is we have a presentation from Jenny Lynn Brown regarding the New Jersey Association of Environmental Commissions grant.
Good evening,
Good
Mayor,
evening.
Council. I'm Jenny Lynn Brown, and I'm a member of the Hackensack Environmental Commission. Thank you for having us. We're gonna do a little presentation on a project, some work we want to do at the Union Street Park. So the Hackensack Environmental Commission is gonna be applying for a grant from ANJAC. It's a small grant, $1,500 to beautify the Union Street Park. ANJAC, for those of you who don't know, is the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions. And tonight we're gonna be talking about their open space stewardship grants for environmental commissions. So the what? We are looking to enhance the natural resources of the Union Street Park. It's a park, it sits at the corner of Union and Meyer, and we will be focusing our attention on the areas in blue. Our vision is to take this park that looks dry and barren and beautify it with natural, native plantings. Pollinator garden. The flowers will complement the street art on the walls there. And we think it shows the diversity of our community, the hardscape of the wall, the softness of the flowers, which reflects the commercial, industrial, and residential mix of our city. Future, we won't have money to do this, but it's part of our vision to see some of that asphalt be taken up off the park and replaced with more plantings and grass, more permeable surface. Why we're gonna do all of this? Well, we think the development of this park will bring quite a few benefits to the community. Restoring native plant habitat to preserve local biodiversity. It will help educate the residents about the importance of pollinator gardens and alleviate and reduce storm water runoff. The rehabilitation of the park will provide a relaxing space for the community and create a more pleasing aesthetic, and also bring a sense of pride, increase a sense of pride for the people in that community, our community. The who?
That was great.
It's a collaboration, it's a community collaboration with the Environmental Commission, the City of Hackensack, DPW, the Hackensack Community Garden, local Boy and Girl Scout troops, and members of that Union Street Park community. When? Here's a look at our timeline. We'll apply now in April. By June, we will get a decision, and if we're awarded this grant, we'll start planting in June with maintenance July through September. Some fall plantings, so some of those bulbs that we like to see come up in the spring. And in spring, going forward into 2013, there will be maintenance, ongoing maintenance for the park. The budget. Small budget, $1,500 grant, plus a small donation of $115. That will buy all the supplies, plants, and so forth that we need for the park. Most of the labor will be free, volunteer, and we think all that volunteer labor will come up to about 95 hours. So it's a lot of work. What do we need? We asked for the mayor and councils and the city manager's endorsement for the grant. We asked for assistance from the DPW to help provide and deliver soil and mulch, the removal of grass in areas where we would like to plant, and help us dig some of those holes for trees that we would like to plant also. And lastly, when the work's all done and it's all pretty, we'll plan a celebration, invite the press, mayor and council to do a little ribbon cutting, and invite the community to come and enjoy the new beautiful space. Questions?
That was a great presentation, Mr. Brown, thank you.
Excellent presentation.
Yeah, very good.
This is just what the council is hoping to see from the Environmental Commission. This is a great little project. Good job, folks. All of you, I see some other members, all of you.
So what can we do to help you get the grant? Is there anything besides the recommendation on it?
Yeah, we already signed, I signed.
All right, good.
Yes, we got the
Moving
endorsement
forward,
letter,
yeah.
thank you, and we've been working with Millennium Strategies.
Great.
Thank you guys very much
Yep.
for putting them at our disposal, they've been helping
Now,
us.
as far as the purchasing of the product, the plants themselves, we know some commercial landscapers up there who get their product wholesale who might be able to help, so that you might wanna reach out to us on that if that could help.
That would be
You could get more
great.
bang for your buck that way, so just call Vince and let him know and he'll reach out to me, all right?
Thank you
I'll
very
put
much.
also on their permission so they can go through our.
Right, okay, good, excellent
Thank you very
presentation,
much.
love it, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, next, I have on the agenda is a discussion regarding the introduction of cannabis prohibition ordinance, which is on for tonight, and in summary is basically banning cannabis use on any public thoroughfare, such as a sidewalk or anything along that. It does not affect private property.
Okay.
Third is an amendment to ordinance under chapter 94 regarding landscapers, the hours of operation, and also the permit cost. There was a change to limit the amount of landscaping tools used, that generate some type of noise to a certain limited of time, as well as a reduction in the permit fee, which was contrary to current law, which state that we had to reduce it.
Real quick on that, and
Yes.
the other thing we might wanna look at, and it doesn't really happen to fall, but it happens quite a bit, we're finding landscapers from outside of town, or who might have worked outside of town but now doing a job in Hackensack, because we still have street pickup for leaves,
And dumping the stuff on.
bringing leaves from other towns to Hackensack, so we wanna try and bite down on that a little bit, because it's not fair.
Four is regarding a shared services agreement with Hackensack Housing Authority for tree services. This resolution is going to start on May 1st. It is no cost to the Hackensack Housing Authority, with the exception that anything that we cut or have to mulch or chop up,
Right,
chip, anything that requires any type of dumping will be at the expense of the housing authority, but we will provide a limited amount of services from the DPW to assist them with tree maintenance, and it's only 2 times per year for the whole year.
okay.
Lastly, I'll call up Ryan Westra, our project manager for CSO and stormwater and parks update.
Good evening.
What's up, Ryan?
How are you? Okay. Starting off with the Clay Street Sewer Separation Project. We've made some good progress. Actually, all the infrastructure has been installed for this phase, including 77 lineal feet of the box culverts, which the last portion was in Lot U. 388 square yards of sidewalks, driveways, in Union Central and West Camden. 115 lineal feet of curb installed on Union Central and West Camden. 7 ADA ramps on Central Avenue Union, and 198 lineal feet of lining, which was installed on First Street between Berry and James. The active construction is, we were hoping to finish paving on Friday, but there were some mechanical issues and the paver broke down. So they're looking to finish, basically from the central intersection up to near the railroad tracks, by the end of this week. Some of the striping was completed, and that'll also get finished, probably next week, construction. Additional construction non-CSO areas. Voorhees Lane Pump, project, the lineal work, which involves the panel property, was completed, so that's all done. The next phase is the actual, finally the construction of the new pump station itself, which we're still looking for the fall on that, due to delays in procuring the pre-built pump station. Some of the jetting activities, the services have commenced the cleaning for McKinley Street, Liberty Street, Hudson, and Lodi and Green. The contractor was not able to clean some areas on Lodi Street due to the flows, the water level. We're thinking it was either high tide or there's a county pump station on Pink Street that we think some of our lines might be tied into, so we're looking into that further. They tend to have, we talked with the county, and they have the level of their pump station a little high to keep the debris out from getting into their pumps. So we think that couple feet is holding back level.
Can we double check on that to make sure that I didn't even know we had a county pump station on Pink Street.
Yeah.
To make sure that that higher level isn't affecting our flow. I've been down on, I'm gonna say Atlantic down by Newman,
Okay.
all right? When it wasn't even raining and water pushed the manhole cover off.
Yeah, well that whole south loop area, that's
Yeah.
that's another issue.
So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, it's in that area on the other side of Essex. I just wanna make sure we're not, catching their water.
Yep, we'll look further into that. So for the large diameter project, little over a mile has been completed, 6585 lineal feet. And those pipes range from 8 inch to 30 inch. The Hudson Street project, they cleaned and CCTV'd Hudson Street, Franklin Street, Taylor Ave, Jackson Ave, Old Hoboken, Frederick, Wysocki, and Kennedy Streets. A total of 6,610 feet has been cleaned and CCTV'd, and those pipes range from 6 inches to 42 inches. The upcoming work, they're gonna do some sections on River Street. And I have an update for contract 3, the Clay Street project. The bid dates were slightly delayed due to some review periods for the DEP. So we're looking to have a bid opening date of May 24th and an award at the first meeting in June. And this includes the hospital works.
So this will get those culverts in?
Yes.
And are we doing them on the east or west side of the track?
So those are gonna be on the east side of
East
the
side,
tracks.
okay.
So they're gonna be the holding tanks for that project. The park status updates. Columbus Park, the site clearing and demolition work was done. The contractor is currently waiting on the arrival of the reinforcing cables, which I think have arrived, and they're gonna be starting the foundation work this week. Same thing with Stide. The foundation works is gonna begin, I think tomorrow it's supposed to rain, so maybe Thursday they're gonna start back up again. And we also had some movement on the Fashini layout. That has been finalized, I think, at this point, so we can move forward with submitting the permit for the DEP, except for some minor, orientation of some of the fields, but we're pretty good on that now, finally. And we have here's the green infrastructure that is proposed for west of the rail. These pictures aren't exactly of what we're gonna get, but they're similar to the best we could get at this point. There's only like 2 companies that are approved by the New Jersey DEP, and they don't have a lot of marketing material available. But this is, I'll explain it. The picture on the left is the Filterra unit itself with the street tree in the center of it. That tree is an evergreen tree, but we could pick, there's a a variety of trees we could pick, so we don't have to stick with the evergreen tree, cause I think that'll not look good in Hackensack. I think we're gonna stick to more native trees. And you can see at the curb, there's a wide opening. We're not gonna have that. It's gonna be a smaller inlet face, like a V inlet with the curb piece, and then a solid curb. And then on the right, you'll see two variations where if the sidewalk is not wide enough to accommodate a tree, we will have a grate, or if we can't put a tree for other utility conflicts, we'll have a planting bed or some grasses. The maintenance is roughly 2 times a year. There's gonna be a spring and a fall cleanup, in the spring for the salts and the sands that come from the plowing, and in the fall is to clean up the leaves. And some of the mulch is gonna be replaced at those cleanings. The annual maintenance cost for the 2 cleanings are roughly $200 to $300 per unit per year. Less frequent, inside of it, there's a media which filters the rainwater, and that was gonna be required every 10 to 15 years with proper maintenance to be replaced. That's per the manufacturer. It's rare that all of the media will have to be replaced. And if that happens, it's quite expensive. It's about $6,500 per unit. We're gonna do it 25, so maintenance will be important on these units. And then the next slide is just a detail of what cross section and an overhead of what the filters do. The rainwater comes in catch basin as normal, runs down, and then there's the filter median. And then once it filters through that, it goes out the outlet pipes. And there's gonna be 25 spread out throughout the west of the rail project.
So that will run from rear to rear, west of the rail.
West of the rail is on the rail up to 3rd Street, and then from Passaic to Central. That one here, it'll be 25.
I have a question on the Columbus Park. Is there a estimate of when that's going to be completed?
We're looking midsummer, hopefully.
Midsummer.
Yeah, we're gonna be starting the cabling. It's a post-tension concrete system, so we're gonna install all the cables and pour the concrete. So once everything's finished, we're looking in the summer.
My reasoning is there's a bocce ball court there.
Yes.
Would that be accessible during this?
Yes, and I think it's currently accessible now,
Okay.
so that
Well, it was
should
fenced
be.
off the last time I was there.
Okay, we'll make sure, when is the,
I will get back to you.
if, you know, anybody from the council or Steve could let me know when we're gonna have events there, we'll just make sure that it's open and accessible.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Only when they require the levies.
Thank you.
Wait, Brian, I have just a
Yes.
quick question. Could you just give us, I know it's not in your presentation, just talk a little bit about what our plan is with the trees on Main Street? You know that the
Yes.
city is very unhappy and was very unhappy with the quality of the trees. First of all, these weren't the trees we wanted.
Yeah.
And we had to settle for something else, and the quality of them, and, you know, I know DMR had done an evaluation that 80 to 85% of them
Yes.
were not. So, what's
Yeah,
our plan going forward?
We had Suburban review DMR's report, and they were in concurrence with the number of trees that need to get replaced. We're looking to set up a meeting, I think within the next week and a half, with DMR, member of council, to attend, Suburban and their arborist, and we're gonna walk the street, pick down every tree, and whatever needs to get replaced, we'll mark it, and
When is our, like, the guarantee or the warranty, so to call it?
it's a year from when we accept the trees, which we haven't yet.
So we have, okay, because that's, I think, critical. I mean,
Yeah.
We don't want that to date back to last year when we said they're unacceptable.
No, it's from when we officially accept them.
Okay.
There's some environmental commission, so right now, like, three people, so, you know, I think we was a lot about the different issues and stuff.
Yeah, I know the issue was the caliper size, and some of the areas we couldn't put a 4-inch due to the underground utilities that were there. We had, Main Street is Swiss cheese of every kind of underground utility we have, so we're limited in some areas. And then the other issue was availability of 4-inch.
It's just that they look pretty sad. I mean, the
Yeah.
ones that were put in on, you know, North Main Street, those initial ones look way, so much nicer and
Mhm.
way healthier. I mean, these, the mayor and I were looking at them the other night, right, John, and some of them at least look like they're budding a little bit. Some don't even look like they're
Yeah.
doing that. They're
Yeah, that's why we wanted to wait a little just to see what would bud. that's why we're gonna give it, about another week or so, but we have it on the books to schedule.
Because
We're
that
gonna
was a
walk
huge
in.
investment by the city, so we wanna make sure we're not signing off on any of this until.
Mhm. No,
All right.
understood.
Good. And any news on when we're gonna start, like with the TAP grant, that's gone out?
The bid opening is, May 10th.
It opens May 10th.
Yes, and the award would be the following week. We ran into an issue today. The construction management and inspection has to be done by a third party. We had to go out for RFP.
Okay.
We had no responses to that RFP, so we'll have to issue it again. We'll have to follow up with Boswell and the state to see how to accommodate that.
Okay.
Some federal projects, there's a lot of extra work that goes into it, and some companies,
And that's from what street to what street?
that is from Sussex to Atlanta.
Sussex to Atlanta.
And that is
Both
just from
sides.
the, yes, and from the curb back to the buildings, because the curb was done when we did that first section of separation.
Mhm.
So it's just the flat work and then the amenities.
And that includes more trees, so let's
Yes.
make sure we get
Yep.
what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And all the other greenery as well.
Yes.
Is there an updated timeline for slide wall?
I do not have an updated schedule. Their payment, second payment is scheduled for this meeting, and that, once they get that, then they can release the money to order the gazebo. So once we have that, we'll have a full schedule.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all I have, man.
All right, with that, I need a motion to open to the public, please.
Offer.
Roll call.
Councilmember Von Rudenberg. Deputy Mayor Canestrino.
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Anybody from the public who'd like to speak, please come forward to the microphone, give your name to the clerk.
Hi, I'm Janet Wickham, and I'm on the Environmental Commission, and I just wanted to thank the city for the tree, the new tree thing, that's a water. That's amazing, and, that's gonna go from what street to what street?
I think it's on Railroad, right? On the
It's
west
gonna
side.
be on Railroad.
Oh, wonderful, there's no trees there.
So, right, so this is west of Ryan Weaver?
No.
This
Yeah,
is
west
west
of-
of the rail?
Yes.
Yeah.
West of Railroad up to 3rd Street, and then from Passaic to Central, that area. So there'll be 25 of them spread out.
Wonderful. That, I think is wonderful. I did, the talk about the trees dying, and they having to replace them. Just from my experience from learning from planting the trees at the community garden is, it's optimum to plant a tree in New Jersey in either April or October because of the heat. So just keep that in mind. If they say July 1st, we're gonna come and replace all those trees, you're likely to lose them again.
You were 100% right, and that's what led to, number one, we couldn't get the trees we ordered, right? There was a shortage of them.
Yeah.
And then it was a timing issue. So the only trees we could get in were the ones they put in last, when they do it, in October or something like that? Last fall. But they're not doing well, so we have to come up with a plan. It's important to get them in because the street
Yeah.
looks bare without them.
They were just in poor
Other
condition
thing-
too when we got them. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't that we had these great looking trees
Yeah.
that got sick. They rarely never looked too healthy.
No.
So that was a problem.
Yeah, there's a long list of native trees that will grow in New Jersey. And I saw that I think you probably picked the evergreens that will grow in New Jersey for you. But, the ornamental trees, those might have been on Main Street, especially the pear trees, if they're putting those in. They've been banned in some states because they have a short life and, they cause damage. So they became very popular, the white ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I did put one in my yard, and after 15 years, it cracked in half, and it just missed my neighbor's house and my house. But it was, it grew to be 30 feet tall in a short period of time, but they also have a short life. So it would be, good to get a tree that's a little hardier.
Yeah. And street trees we gotta be a little more particular in the way they grow. There's
The
certain trees for
ornamental.
like downtowns that don't grow out too much
Yeah,
because they interfere
yeah.
with traffic. They kind of grow up and they can be
Yeah.
pruned.
But there are, I wish I was more knowledgeable about trees, but,
Well, we do have, DMR and our arborists
Yeah.
work together on this, so I mean,
yeah, yeah.
we didn't get the ones we want, but we know that.
Right, okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Thank you.
tonight.
Hi.
Hey,
I just have two questions. Is it,
Dee, could you just give them your name?
oh, I'm sorry,
That's
Dee Untitled,
Thank you, Dee.
210 Willow Avenue. I heard through the grapevine, so I really don't know. If there's a soccer game at Stide Park, none of us can use it, walk our dogs or walk through the park, is that true?
No, man.
Okay.
No,
There's the name.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, it's one of those.
It's people being people.
Huh?
Yeah,
It's people being people,
that's
all.
it, yeah. No,
Yeah,
you're
I thought
fine.
that was a little bizarre.
I mean, if there's a pickup game of soccer, I mean, obviously you're not gonna walk the dog to the soccer game, you walk around it, but there's no, there's no organized
I've been doing it
soccer.
for 40 years.
Ain't no goals in.
There's no lined fields or anything.
No goals.
Second question, is there anything can be done about the parking on Johnson Avenue? It's really getting very unsafe.
Any
When the,
particular area?
yeah, right where the bars are,
Or by
or
the
whatever
breweries?
they call them,
Okay, the breweries.
the breweries,
So I'm
thank you.
guessing it's
I
a
guess
little
they're
worse in
using
the afternoon and
outside,
evenings?
you know, since COVID, using outside, and then the parking is on the street.
Right.
I'd really hate to see a family get hurt, like, on their way home.
We'll visit that and see,
Yeah, and the curbs and
what we could do.
everything. So if you could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Maybe you'll have traffic look at that and see if they
Okay.
can come up with some alternative places for them to park over there. There are some industrial areas that are empty at night where people can
There's
park.
side streets and,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Bridget Rucker.
Ben?
I'm here to ask the question about the assessment company that you hired to come around and assess our property after the enormous property value up. The gentleman was on the property next door. The property owner does not live in that property, he rents that property. But then he turned and he had his camera up as he was getting ready to take pictures of my property. I stopped him in the midst to ask the question, why are you on people's property? He said he's hired by the city, his company, to go onto properties that don't have any fences around them to assess the property. The question here is, you hire this company, something happens on homeowners' property, if they fall, get bitten by a dog, children are in the back. We don't know who's been hired. Who's responsible? The homeowners, or are you, the city, who hired this company to come assess the property?
The way I understand it, if I can answer the question real quickly, is, Ms. Rucker, they're supposed to knock on your door and identify themselves, and they have to be granted permission to go inside if they're doing the assessment. Other than that, they're doing that on their own, not at the permission of the city, but I believe that's the agreement with the city, but I'll have Vince check on that, but they're not just allowed to walk into your backyard and start
Well,
looking,
they-
they're not supposed to do that, so
I
they're wrong.
understand, but they did it, and I stopped them in the midst, I started talking to
If
him.
that's what's happening, they'll
Yes.
get a call from
He
Mr.
said if
Caruso
there's no
tomorrow.
fence, you can go into the property and assess the property from the backyard.
That's not true, you can't walk on anybody's property.
Well,
Well,
he
they
did.
should, yeah, well, they should.
And my thing
A
is,
good way
if
to
he
get-
fell on my property, if he got hurt on my property, if I have a dog in the backyard and if he got bit, whose responsibility will that lay on? That will lay on the homeowners, not you. But he said he was hired and told by his company through you guys that that can happen.
I would look at it as trespassing,
Yeah, so
so, and I'd ask the attorney, but I would say he's trespassing, because he's certainly not going on your property without,
well, that's what
With
that's
your
what I was
permission.
told in the midst of the conversation
I mean-
that I had with him. And then he told me about an experience that happened up in the Hiller area where a cop had to be called because that is what they did. So my thing here is, guys, you gotta be smart about this. Send out letters. Let us know, the community, that
Well,
they
they
are
do-
gonna be
they do
coming
send
through.
out
That should be the case.
They do send out
Typically, that is the.
I never received a letter.
I have when they were coming.
No,
Heard
I
that
never
they were
received a
in
letter
the
either.
area.
I mean, all we can do is make an inquiry and find out, you know, are they following the appropriate processes? I mean, look, if someone, like you said, if someone got injured on your property, I mean, they probably would be through workers' comp through their employer, but, you know, it doesn't mean that you might not get sued.
Exactly.
So legitimate concern, I mean, you know, people can walk, you know, people are allowed to go to your door and go up your, you know, to your front door and ring a doorbell, anybody
But
can
he
do that.
didn't, he was in
But
the
it-
midst of the driveway of the next door neighbor,
but-
in the back of their house. taking
Yeah, but
pictures of that property.
but there comes a point where, you know, it does go beyond simple understanding of what public access to someone's front door is and going onto the back of their property. So it's obviously concerning,
So
but I
we'll
think
reach
we need
out,
to make
we'll
it
reach out to
important.
the assessment company and see what's going on. Thank you. But Vinnie, make sure we find out, and make sure they're sending the letters.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah, let us know, maybe we can respond back to Ms. Rucker once we have some information.
thank you.
Anybody else in public? Mr. Miller?
Thanks for waiting for me to walk around.
Not a problem.
Fred Miller. I just wanted to piggyback off what she said, my experience, because I got the assessment card, but I didn't get a letter. And the gentleman came, knocked on my door. I noticed someone was taking pictures in the neighborhood. I figured that was what it was. But it came like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. I work. My wife was home with the baby. He identified himself, but it's a square like this. You can't see it. It looks like a piece of paper and a plastic thing. It's not very official. So it's worrisome that a gentleman's asking for access to my home
Understood.
with my wife and babies there and I'm not. But I called the tax assessor's office and they said they didn't send letters out. And I called the company to make an appointment, because the thing they left, it says I have 3 bathrooms, finished attic, finished basement, and I don't have any of that. So I'm worried about getting screwed with taxes, sorry. So I did make the
Make sure you
appointment.
give Mr. Caruso your address again, just so he can, because he's gonna bring that up with the assessment company
No,
tomorrow.
I did call the tax assessor back and I relayed that I tried to make an appointment. I did
Right.
make an appointment, but they're only available Monday through Thursday, 10 to noon and 2 to 6. It's not very,
Our tax, or the tax assessor?
the tax assessor that's coming to look at my property, so it's
Mhm.
not very friendly to working people. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your address, Mr. Miller?
134C.
Charles Avalon. Good afternoon, good evening, whatever we are. Is this the only time we'll be able to speak publicly here?
No.
Okay, so I'll just rant the thing about the gentleman with the sewers. I've gone by the, I believe it's the Jefferson, used to be the county police, and their catch basin has been half full since last year, and catch basins are not supposed to be full 24/7. They're supposed to take the rain, then dry out. That is gonna be mosquito heavy in a month,
Where are we talking, Mr. Avalon?
where the county police used to be, Johnson Avenue,
Jefferson Development.
Jefferson Development, sorry, whatever it was. So I'm just saying that you had a little bit of flooding there earlier in the year when we had all that rain. So I'm saying it's that catch basins are not supposed to be ponds. They're supposed to catch the overflow and go. So you have a lot of steel and concrete there that never used to be there. And I believe the company behind it, Brookside, got more flooded this year than ever before, where they had a lot of cars that had to be towed. What I'm saying is that we build this big complex, there used to be some runoff, now it's even worse. So, no matter what you're planning, if you're planning some kind of spray like they have in Little Ferry, or whatever, but I have never
The
seen.
first thing we're gonna do is take care of the catch basins, do the DPW.
Now, maybe they're waiting for the building to be completed, then they're gonna do something, but I doubt it should be empty.
Well, if the catch basins on one of our streets, it's really our responsibility.
So this is on the property,
You're talking about the retention.
You're talking about the retention
Yes,
pond.
Yes, yeah, the retention.
but it's not supposed to be full.
No,
all
it
the
should be
time.
drained.
Right, because otherwise, yeah, so where can it drain? Hackensack?
No, that drains
That's
into,
impossible.
that drains into the brook
I
there.
haven't seen it drain since they put it in.
Yeah.
I drive by there
Good
once a
point.
day. So,
We'll reach out to the developer.
well, you better get a lot of mosquito killer. Okay, So I can come back later for other things?
Well, the next next meeting's at 8 o'clock. We do our city business and then we open to the public again.
The parks as well. Stein Park, part of it has been fenced in for over 6 months, maybe a year. You know, where the swings are in the bathrooms, the softball field is clear. We don't have a lot of green space in this town. Good thing for the, one on Union Street, that's been concrete forever. I'm glad you're putting in some green space. Side Park is the only park around the north end of town, and you can't use it. I don't know where you're gonna put the summer programs. My son used to go there.
We're in the middle of a redoing
I know,
that part.
it's been up for a year. It went up before the election, and it's still there.
That hasn't been closed since before the election, sir.
Well, the sign went up.
The sign,
The
I
fence
know.
went up last week.
There's a bid
I mean,
process,
fencing went up.
bid processes and everything else that we have to follow guidelines, lowest bids, the whole 9 yards. I wish it was
Why
quicker,
the fence
believe me.
went up? Take it down for the summer. And
I
let
think
the
they're gonna
kids
be
play.
working there, our project manager, I mean,
Yeah,
they're
it's,
just
that
waiting.
portion's under construction.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
they,
is my basement.
yeah.
It just doesn't ever finish. No.
Thank you, sir.
Brian, before, what's going on up there by the Jefferson, could any of that be part of the fix that we're putting in for Voorhees?
If it's the retention basin on
That's at
site,
the opposite end of the
yeah,
project.
I just have to, I'll check with Neglia to have them do an inspection on it, you know,
Yeah.
they could have filters, because the site is still under construction, they could have filters that protect sediment and mold
There is
water,
standing water
you know.
there, no, I've
Yeah,
noticed.
there is debris in the
Yeah.
water, 2 cardboard boxes and stuff.
Yeah, so that'll all have to get cleaned out before they get CO'd anyway, so, well, I'll have them check it.
Let's make sure we get somebody to take a look at that.
No problem.
soon. And if there's any connection at all to any of that work that we've done, of course, through Voorhees Lane, they were part of a lot of that sewer work that we did up there.
Yeah, well, the pump station is sanitary only, so,
Okay.
This is all stormwater.
yeah, this is all.
Yeah. Sir,
Dan Wright, Wes Anderson. I don't know if I can bring this up, the house next door was empty 15 years. The house was sold, the contractor's been trying to get it worked on. From the architect, he put a bedroom in the basement, it got rejected. It's now almost 2 months, he's been waiting for this permit. This is right next door to me. He's there every day looking, and now he has a bunch of garbage in the back because he's waiting on a permit. 497 Wes Anderson.
got that, Vinny? The reason it was rejected from the bedroom and basement is they're outlawed in Hackensack.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he said it was rejected, he brought it back the next day,
Right,
and they just said, we'll give it to you when it's ready.
all right. We'll
But it's
definitely
8
look
weeks.
into
Now I'm thinking,
it. 8 weeks?
yeah, here I'm a resident, and what if I need a permit? Will that happen?
You're
Hopefully not.
absolutely right, sir, it's not supposed to be.
And also the assessor, you know, since COVID, I became disabled, and I'm home now. Driving my wife crazy, but I'm home. But he's a little aggressive. He just came to the wrong guy. I just said, no, you cannot. He did that, he came to the door, but
Oh, you're
my
talking about the
problem
guy
is
who
my
came to
wife
your
was
house to
home,
assess?
and I wasn't home. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like people coming to your door at, that you don't expect, and like you said, the ID was a little flimsy, and, so I'm just concerned about that.
No, thank you for bringing, I'm glad you guys brought that up, because we don't know about it. If
Right, he
somebody
was a
doesn't
little
tell us, so-
aggressive, but, nah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, motion to close the public.
Offer.
Roll call?
Councilmember Von Rudenberg, Deputy Mayor Canestrino,
Aye.
Councilmember Pataglia, Councilmember Carroll, Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, we're
We
gonna,
got a few minutes and we'll be back.
Are we
Be
going
back.
back, we're going back into executive?
What about the presentation from?
well, we can't start the new meeting till 8 o'clock. 10-minute break.
Okay.